Hello, and thank you for joining us for the final game of the day, Cloud9 versus OpTic Gaming. First up, we have C9 selecting the blue side. We're going to run through the rosters real quick. Of course, Licorice in the top lane, Sven Skaren in the jungle. We got Golden Glue in the mid lane, and then, of course, Zazel and Keith piloting the bot lane.
Nailed it.
I did nail it. See, that was hard for me, though, because you just, the names Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie, even at this point, are so indicative of that team and that their identity.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that Cloud9 hasn't made roster changes. They said at least for the first week. We don't know when they're going to be putting them back. And I know Cloud9 is taking a beating on social media from their fans for making these changes. So I think it is super important that this lineup with Golden Glue, Keith, and Zazel from the Academy team find some success, especially against OpTic. You can explain away what happened in the game yesterday against Clutch, where they got all those deaths early on in the game and still made a good game of it. But if they lose this one after the beating they're already taken, it's going to be tough for that team to keep this roster.
To be fair to OpTic, they did pick up a win yesterday. It's hard to say, exactly the power in the league right now, but they are still a very competent team.
And that brings us to the OpTic lineup. Of course, Dokla up there in the top lane, Acadian in the jungle, Power Vivo in the mid lane, Arrow at ADC, or rather bot laner, I should say, because who knows, and Big as support. Coach Zabu's team behind them on stage.
Yeah, Big, I think, changes the dynamic of this team a fair bit. It seems like every team he's on, he's a very positive personality to kind of drive everything forward. And this is a team that had some bright spots last split, but ultimately was still the 9th place team. So there is that question of their victory yesterday. They got to play Golden Guardians yesterday. That was the 9th and 10th place team from yesterday. Someone has to win, but if they can continue to put wins together, that's when they're really making the noise this split.
Yeah, and to go back to that little point about OpTic playing their style, and who knows how strong they are right now. We talk about all these teams trying new things. OpTic goes with Victor in the mid lane for Power of Evil, very standard for him, and they pick up the win with it, and he looked great, destroyed Mickey in the mid lane, and that's why it's hard to say who's the best right now, because we credited TSM for sticking with what they're good at, OpTic doing much the same strategy.
So perhaps an interesting mid lane matchup here, because while we talk about Power of Evil winning his matchup, Golden Glue was also very much winning his matchup yesterday against Evan, had the solo kill himself. Power of Evil with the Dokla roam down, got an early kill, and so again, just like you said with the game for OpTic yesterday, somebody's got to lose, somebody's got to win. In this mid lane, somebody's got to lose, somebody's got to win.
Whoever picks Lulu loses. both them destroyed Lulu's.
They both destroyed Lulu's yesterday, so I hope we avoid that pick in this draft altogether.
Zoe is usually banned, so Golden Glue is actually the only one that had the chance to play it yesterday. It's a very powerful pick in this game. Got a solo kill. It was his 10th solo kill in
11.
LCS
He had
history.
10 before it. That made 11.
11th, as I was saying, of the 80 games he's played in.
Why couldn't that be the Jat stat you asked me at the top of the day?
Like, how did Golden Glue?
I know exactly how many solo kills Golden Glue has.
It's actually super important that he had that good performance on Zoe, because like you said, it was banned against most people, and that's a little bit of a disrespect to be like, yeah, give it to Golden Glue. It's Golden Glue. Let him play Zoe. And then he comes out and has a great game on it, so that might have bought his team some small advantages in the draft heading into this game.
Yeah, I do think, though, that as we mentioned, with Cloud9 giving away those 3 kills early, they showed a lot of poise on the stage and how they clawed their way back into it, farming to 6, utilizing that brand and the Nocturne to collapse on the bot lane very intelligently to pick up kills and get back into it. And so, again, it raises the question of, well, what happens if they don't give up 3 kills before level 2? What happens if at 10 minutes into the game, they're just at an even state and everyone's hitting those level 6 power spikes?
Yeah, and we talked about at the start of the day how there are far fewer rubber band mechanics for falling behind early. Like it used to be prior to patch 8.10 that if you had a 1 or 2 kill bounty when the enemy team killed you, they'd get a bonus 100 or 150 gold. That gold just doesn't exist in the game anymore. So when C9 gives up those 3 kills 3 minutes into the game, 3 patches ago, when they get them back, that's actually 450 more gold that would help them. Like, there's little things like that that add up all throughout the game that make comebacks even more difficult, especially from early. So I think they win that game if those 3 things don't happen based on how they play.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, for Zazel in particular, if people didn't watch Academy last split, like he's a beast at engaging, and he's often kind of the playmaker for that Academy roster. He comes into his first LCS game. the sole rookie right now in the league.
They all die.
And he just gets a horrible start for a young guy who's
Right.
supposed to be a large part of his team's decision-making. That's got to feel terrible. And so hopefully, a little bit nicer of a start to this game so we can see a little bit more out of him, because when he's on, he took games over in Academy.
So let me ask you this then. Where does the confidence for the this C9 roster come from that you're both willing to have predicted them today following an OpTic win and a C9 loss in day one?
I think it's just the fact that they're wearing the C9 jersey. But that
Yeah,
actually,
is there some element of that?
That sounds like a meme answer, but it actually means something because they did replace Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie, even if it's just for week one. And Jack, with his 6 years of management and owner experience of the LCS team, deemed this to be the roster he wanted to put on. That means a lot to me. And also, I do think if they don't make those really bad decisions at level one, that they probably would have won yesterday. So I give them the edge.
On the flip side, looking at that C9 roster, then how does OpTic attack it? Where do you see the biggest weakness mark in this C9 roster?
I would look at the brand pick a little bit, just because in Academy, C9 Academy with Sneaky down there played it once, and then it got taken away from the next game, and they lost that next game. And it looks like, not only how well you understand the new meta, but the amount of depth you have in it. So if they were crutching on that brand pick in game one, that's part of where they attack to get back into that game. If you take that away, what else do they have to show? Is Keith just back onto Ezreal then? Those are the kinds of things I would be looking at, just because that was something that worked against the C9 Academy, and these guys were scrimming very closely,
right.
And that's why they kind of got split up this way.
So looking to some degree for OpTic to continue to pressure those 3 Academy players that have slotted up into the LCS stage.
Yeah, and I think Power of Evil is potentially one of the best mid laners in the North American LCS. It's so hard to shine in League of Legends on a team that loses, yet that's something he was able to do last split. He had the largest CS differential at 15 minutes of all mid laners yesterday, and there were none of those Terex or Brahms running around mid to make that stat dirty. It was real stat against Mickey's Lulu, and I think he's a hell of a player you have to respect.
5th and final game of week 1, and while we head out to the casters, Taliyah has been found to cause game server lag that may have contributed to Clutch Gaming versus Fox's crash. We are administratively disabling Taliyah for the remainder of the day. Players will be warned not to pick Taliyah and will be forced to pick a different champion in Champion Select. With that, it's time for us to throw it out to the cat. Oh, Jack, you got a point here on this?
Well, yeah, it just reminds me of when, Gragas was disabled back in the 2016 World Championship. If they think it's going to lead to another bug, it's standard precedent to just get rid of it for the next game. And usually that's a red side ban. So what I think will be a pivot these coaches have to make at the last minute to figure out what ban they want to throw in there.
Absolutely, some obstacles for them to work through. But either way, we don't want what happened in the last game to happen again. So taking preventative measures in that regard. With that, we toss it back out to the arena for our 5th and final game. Enjoy.
Hello, hello, and welcome back, Kobe. Been through a roller coaster ride today. We thought it was going to be all easy breezy. I'm sorry for jinxing it on Twitter, but we're here for our last game of the day, C9 versus OpTic, and as we've already talked about, a very different looking C9, but
yeah, it definitely is a different looking C9.
New jerseys and all.
As the analyst desk kind of went over, we did see some good things from the Academy players that have been put in, but man, was it a very bad first few minutes of the game for them yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see what this Cloud9 roster can do if they start off on even footing. Meanwhile, yesterday, OpTic Gaming, Power of Evil is definitely a star for this team. He had 44% of the team's damage dealt to champions on that Victor, one of the champions that he has had a lot of time on, and one of the very comfortable champions. And as a whole, the OpTic Gaming roster that they actually decided to choose in Champ Select, the composition was very, very standard if you're looking back to past seasons and past splits, with the Ezreal on the bottom side, DPS jungler, tank top, and the mage in the mid lane. So they very well could just go for much more traditional sort of setup here, whereas the Cloud9 ones were very clearly the mage bottom lane, or the wizard bottom lane, as we like to call it.
And again, continuing to highlight the teams that are playing to kind of the natural strengths of their teams and just playing the style they know has at least shown early success here. And again, only a few games in, we'll have 2 for these 2 teams at the end of it, but the draft is pretty well underway. Ezreal, Victor, and Yasuo banned by Cloud9, Zoe, Aurelia, and one more here to come for OpTic. It's Brand. They're going to take away that bot lane option Keith played yesterday.
Yeah, Keith played that yesterday. The Victor, as we just said, for Power of Evil was taken out. But we know he definitely has more options left in the pocket. Lucian, though, quickly locked in very early here for Cloud9. Now, Licorice has played this champion top. We would expect this to be a Keith champion, though, for our first reactions.
Yeah, I thought we were typing something else, Hovers Master Yi for a second, but we'll first pick Xin Zhao, so Acadian will revisit that champion, and Ornn also sticking with the same picks.
Yeah, exactly same champions so far for OpTic that they used yesterday. The Ornn is so good, and Dokla actually had a really good roam. One of the big things about Ornn Ultimate, the long range that you can go for early effectiveness in other lanes. He was able to set up Power of Evil with one of those early kills. So maybe we'll be able to see some more focus from the rest of members of OpTic towards the mid lane once again.
Clearly trust in Nocturne Shen. Cloud9 once more will take this combination into battle. Again, did not pick up a game win yesterday, but Transgarent and Licorice, the two veterans, if you were left on at least this roster, gonna try and make this happen. Clearly something that they feel can work. And
yeah, there's definitely huge highlights, right? Nocturne Shen, clear opportunity. You double ult. Both of them are diving in onto the backline, whatever sort of carry it is. Doesn't matter if it's a marksman or a mage or whatever champion is built to do damage and doesn't have defenses. That's the one that you dive with that double combo. And you can almost guarantee being able to kill it, even if it's something like the Lulu, as we did see yesterday. However, Cloud9 also ran into some troubles, and Svenskeren started to rack up the deaths on the Nocturne. One thing about that champion as a jungle champion, yes, you can do super well offensively, but if you do have a bad start, then it becomes very hard for Nocturne to you kind of affect the game in a positive way. He doesn't have defenses where you have a dash to get out, and he kind of has a one-way ticket into team fights where you go back into the back line, try and kill Squishy, and if you don't, then gonna be pretty useless.
yeah, even with Shen helping out, not doing too much else if your first little bit doesn't work out. So we'll see how the rest of the bands move through. Aatrox and Mundo, two surprisingly popular top laners this weekend, will be taken out of the pool. Arrow actually gets a Draven ban pulled in Cloud9's second phase, and now the final ban of this draft is Kai'Sa. They're taking out one of the marksman options.
Yeah, they're trying to chip away at the more standard picks here for Arrow. Again, they did play the Ezreal yesterday, but that was banned out in the first round, and they're trying to push them further and further down the tier list and out of the marksmen that are super viable right now. Now, let's see. Varus is still available. That's when the Rageblade route, more AP building. Kog'Maw has definitely been used. Even Xayah as well. But I have to say I really like the Draven ban because that has been one of Arrow's kind of go-to picks at multiple moments and can do really well into the Lucian.
Yeah, it will be Xayah instead. So kind of giving Cloud9 the option of taking away Rakan. Presumably they don't have their support yet, but you do never know. Zeyzal has pulled out quite the number of champions in Academy in spring, so we'll see what the rookie has to do here. All right, not Yorick. Not yet, at least. And does look like Orianna.
I feel, whoa. So it is a little bit of a blocker too, because Power of Evil, of course, loves Orianna, the champion. So in case the Lulu would be flexed into the bottom lane as a support, does kind of deny that. And famously, Golden Glue, when he previously subbed into the LCS, I believe it was Dignitas and for like Scar or something like that, he got a quadra kill after whiffing his ultimate completely and hitting no one with it. Still was able to pick up the quadra there. And
Mind games, that's all that was.
The most kills in a game that he's ever had. So.
Well, we're on the last lock in there, so OpTic will get the chance to take whatever they want here. If it's a Lulu support, they can give PoE a counter pick here. Otherwise, maybe just showing things up with Rakan in the bot side.
The other cool thing about Orianna is you can put the ball onto Nocturne as he's passing by, and if he's charging someone with his ultimate, if you're quick enough about it and you're close enough, kind of pass him the ball and give him the shockwave for more damage to kill someone through a Lulu ultimate.
Yep, and there's Ziggs as the last lock-in, so it was Lulu support all along. Power of Evil will take a signature pick for him, and certainly something he showed up very big with, and I believe his actual last game of spring last season, so certainly something that not very many people are playing, but Power of Evil is never one to play the things that are always standard.
It's really cool, actually, how people have actually been using Ziggs to push early towers, get the early gold lead for his 2-item power spikes, and then you just dish out so much damage in a huge area. The big problem, though, does become kind of protecting him. So Arrow, with the Xayah, you're even a little bit more safe than the Ziggs would be, and the Nocturne actually might go for the Ziggs more often than the Xayah, considering the ultimate being available. And that means that Big on the Lulu is going to have to keep his wits about him and stay close to both carries and ready to protect them.
Yeah, gonna have to think that C9 assembled a pretty straightforward combination, one we've seen somewhat, at least in years gone by, or even recent splits gone by. For OpTic, I think they're also, again, sticking to kind of what they know, giving PoE a pick that he's very comfortable with, that he can rack up, again, 40+% of the team's damage on something like Ziggs. Again, I think as fun as it is to see all these different picks in all these different lanes, you don't necessarily have to be doing that. And these teams, you have to assume it, with the information they have, are picking the best things they think will help them win their match.
Definitely true. All right. Well, we've got another double marksman matchup in the bottom lane. Those have been faring pretty well so far today. See if there's any crazy level 1s, though, because that definitely is something Cloud9 are going to want to change from previous records.
Was the undoing, perhaps? We'll see. Braum not bad at level 1, but it looks like C9 at least are going to spread themselves out across some of the Rift. OpTic taking a cue from yesterday's game, though. Thinking, you know what, that 4-5-man invade worked out pretty well. Currently all 4 stacked in that brush, with Lulu just to the right of that. So OpTic can look to make a big team push here into the jungle.
Even if they do, Zeyzal should be pretty well positioned to back off, so probably won't be giving up kills this time around, as Cloud9 with the defensive opening are going to hold their ground, and OpTic don't decide to go for the aggressive play.
Yep, Svenskeren does check a brush, or at least a section of it, so knows no one is in there, but no wards being placed. Except for one by OpTic, which I think was placed in the river, if I can see that correctly. So looks like junglers are going to start on opposite sides here. Zeyzal just hanging out right now, right near that ward. OpTic did manage to place. And we'll see kind of how the early game works out for these junglers. I think I'm expecting, correct me if I'm wrong, Kobe, you are of course the jungle expert, but probably farming for Svenskeren and a bit more aggression out of Acadian.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting how deceptively good Nocturne can be early on, but they're definitely not going to want to let Xin Zhao get the jump on him. But yeah, if you proc your spell shield with the extra attack speed and you're able to get the fear off, then Nocturne can actually win quite a lot of early duels. Both these guys did want to start on their red buffs, get them as early as possible, and Acadian walking over the ward for the early threat for a gank here. Golden Glue walking to the other side kind of does show that you know, Acadian should think there's probably a ward there that did see him.
Yep, Acadian though instead just falls back to the left side Scuttle Crab, so he'll be able to pick that one up first. Seen a lot of early Scuttles today as far as jungle pathing goes. Makes sense given how much more valuable they were made in recent patches, and Acadian's actually back to mid lane.
Yeah, one thing you can do if you have the early pressure like that and you're confident in your duel, go cross scuttle to scuttle and get the control, get the timer on it as well. Because the early scuttles are, they're pretty good, but keeping the timer for yourself, then you are able to see the gray icon come up and subsequent yellow one to be there for the next ones. We saw Meteos do it pretty well with the Camille last time around earlier on in the day, and that gave him a lot of experience and gold income that he was able to rely upon.
Yep. All that investment crabbing as you take those down. So both junglers will hit level 3, a little faster there for Acadian, but looks like both will fall back to the jungle for now. In the top side, Dokula getting a good push early on. Acadian very smooth farming as he crosses from blue to the top.
Yeah, and you can see they're also tracking the enemy junglers, something very important for the early game. The question mark pings coming out from OpTic in their blue quadrant, suspecting Svenskeren was just doing a topside clear there, straight from the red buff. They were correct, and they should be able to continue to play accordingly. Acadian now, since he went for the Scuttles early, gets to just back clear his entire rest of the jungle. You can see the early lead already in experience. Going quite nicely for him, even though Svenskeren was able to go back already and get that red smite.
So far so good, as although he's just kind of feeling themselves out. OpTic do have pushes in most of their lanes though. I think with Power Beagle here, it's going to make it all three getting some of that pressure. So Acadian certainly has the room, whether or not he wants to visit a lane or continue to farm through and reap the benefits of the crabs he took once those timers come back up. But again, certainly expecting Svenskeren to get much more active once he does hit level 6, which is still a little ways away as he does miss that ward with the Scry's Bloom.
Yep, plus there's a little defensive vision for himself, and gonna wait on the timer for his Raptors. So that was the first small one to clear. This is a half-hearted kind of pass towards mid, just because he's waiting on the Raptor spawn, by the way. Wasn't really kind of expecting to get anything out of that.
Knock-up hits for Doklo, but Licorice far enough away to not be threatened. Acadian also moving in, so perhaps a lane gank or a dive being lined up here. Good early aggression from Doklo on the on.
Yeah, he's got him very low. Gonna force him off the turret here and probably deny a minion or two off of this before the teleport channel completes. Nope. Licorice actually even cancels and sticks around.
A little greedy, perhaps. He's going to stay around for a while, but we can see Acadian does count the recall and get away. Zazel pops Unbreakable up against Arrow as they try and get this lane pushing back towards the enemy turret. And Svenskeren using this time to get vision on the other side, but of course nothing to take right now. He's showing some pressure in bot lane, but again, not really the best time to dive.
Yeah, his deep vision right now is mostly to try and find out where Acadian is, because he's waiting on the Scuttle Crab, number 2 here. He wants to jump on it before the Xin Zhao arrives, and he is able to do that just as they pass by here. Acadian, we found that a little bit too slow there. Svenskeren does get number 2. However, Acadian still holds the experience lead based on the 2 early ones.
Yep, looking actually for Svenskeren now as he moves softly into Cloud9's roadside jungle, even sweeps through and looks for vision, doesn't find any, which is good news for sneaking in.
Could try and turn bottom lane next as they're in the middle of the lane, but it's definitely dangerous to go after the Lucian Braum in this position, and you don't want to get kind of separated or surprised if Svenskeren was lurking around as well.
Also kind of, I think, thought about mid for a second, but has given it up for now, and looks like he'll go back as his camps do respawn. Svenskeren level 5, Acadian of course matching that. As you mentioned, did have the early experience lead, and Licorice actually makes it back with a Tiamat now, so managed to hold on for long enough and not get ganked. To Svenskeren now going to try and return the favor.
Yep, Doklo just goes into the brush to build up some items here. Does get taunted, so there's going to be some damage.
For the fear here, Doklo with the flash ready to go. Does get himself out of the way, has the ulti. Sven thinks about going a bit further forward, but does not want to fully commit to a dive.
Yep, and Sven, another kind of half-hearted game where you know you're not probably going to burn too much, but he's very quickly approaching that level 6 you spoke of, Pastry. Another couple camps should be able to get him there. However, these lanes are not very easy to gank for him, so it's going to be a more concentrated effort for Cloud9 when they decide to use not only the Nocturne ultimate, probably also the Shen ultimate. That's why that Tiamat you mentioned is going to be important. You're going to have Licorice shove out the wave first, then try and make a big double ult play. Because otherwise, you know, Ziggs by himself in the mid lane at half court, kind of difficult to go for. And Arrow on Xayah is quickly approaching his level 6 to have his ult to rely upon as well.
Yep, TPs of course for both marksmen as well. Keith has his arrow uses to get back to lane, so it looks like Keith managed to get a back in without using it. He could also join the action, you never know. The ADC is going to go with their TPs. As Sven finds a control that Acadian put down earlier. Again, just making sure that no vision's really in the jungle. Acadian will cross the threshold again, but is not spotted this time.
Yeah, they finally got some hard information though. They did see the exact location of Svenskeren, so they know he's over here, farming up on the bottom side. That's Acadian sticking around again for the next Scuttle spawn. That has really been the only big difference and big action has been who has gotten to the Scuttles first in this game so far.
Yep, Acadian will make it 3 for 1, I believe, as far as total Scuttles taken. Woohoo! Always feels nice as a jungler. Sven, though, put it on a ward.
This is a chance. Remember, there's a Shen ultimate, though, and that can cause these to backfire.
Here comes Doklo. Golden Glue burns the heal, not quite enough, and the bomb is great, but a good stopwatch there by Golden Glue. Takes most of the incoming damage.
Yeah, that is the exact move that Doklo did yesterday for Power of Evil. Last time it was on a flashless mid laner. Lulu didn't have the summer available. This time around, Golden Glue doesn't have to burn his flash, but he does, as you say, burn both the heal and the stopwatch, which is a very important active.
Sven invading. No vision and does not luckily steal the blue buff, so we'll go over to Power of Evil. Acadian tanks it up for just a last few hits. Golden Glue also going to take that time to go back. Already realized that some attention has been drawn to his lane, so it's going to take the time to recall back and grab a lost chapter.
All right, everyone gaining access to the ultimates now. This could be where we see, again, the big concentrated play here from Cloud9, where they try and overload on possibly the bottom side. You know, you can go for Lulu there. Probably even a better target than the Xayah. To try and lock them up very quickly, but bottom lane pressure has been kept up fairly well by Keith and Basil.
Yeah, I feel like the early levels once it
Oh,
off,
yeah.
Keith with a nice culling. Big damage down there onto the Lulu. Cadian's there, but he's on top of a ward. So C9 will see what they can do with all this information, and the vision from the speed train disappears as well. Garen creeps forward even further.
Everything is set up here. Shen is already pushing on top side. They chunked out the Lulu a little bit. They've got Svenskeren down here, so OpTic actually see all of these things coming to fruition. They're like, okay, we're not gonna go for the obvious Shen play. We're not gonna take this fight on bottom side, and they give up all of this damage on the turret, half of the turret life, as well as quite a lot of the minions. But that is the better choice, as the dive would be very strong from Cloud9.
Oh, here we go. The combo looking to land up. Good charge though from Power of Evil as he also flashes away.
I think the goal there, 100% from Cloud9, was just burn the flash as well. You can see Svenskeren, he doesn't want to early flash to keep the fear on or anything like that, because he would be under tower and the damage could get dicey. They only use the Nocturne ultimate to burn double summoners off of Power of Evil, so they don't kind of overexpend cooldowns. And now Cloud9, they actually have a couple of different options to go for with the follow-up plays, because the cooldown there for Nocturne ultimate, even though it's long early, level 1, it's not as long as Flash.
No, certainly not. So a successful gank, we'll call it there, although first blood still on the table as Keith TP's back down to the bot side. Building up the pieces of a Blade of the Ruined King, and also has his Berserker Greaves finished. Liquor's looking for a taunt, lands it in onto Dokla. Acadian also here, Sven's gonna see that. Now gonna maybe start doing this in Zhao. Oh, get procced. Flash forward from Acadian, but Licorice here gonna try and protect him. Good double lockup there from Dokla again. Looking for that first blood, but Sven trying to shake off all the damage. It's not quite enough, and Power of Evil contributing as well. Make it to OpTic. Nab those kills.
Acadian keeps up the chase there, and because the lethal tempo is procced early, that time's out. So Svenskeren, once he actually decides to turn around and fight the 1v1 heads up with Xin, he doesn't have that available. Acadian wins it, then gets healed back up with the Triumph, and the rest of the members arrive. So OpTic are actually the ones, even with Cloud9 chipping away so well at the cooldowns from OpTic and the pressure, OpTic are able to kind of dig themselves out of a very precarious situation and get that turret for themselves.
Yeah, map advantage here though. Dokla trying to get an ult, landed onto 2. He'd already got first turret gold there in the bot lane after that play. And mid is also looking pretty unhealthy, but OpTic do save it by burning the Ornn ultimate.
Ooh, yeah, that was kind of Cloud9 going for a little bit too much. That was like eyes on every single lane. They're like, okay, bottom lane got forced off. We're going to be able to get that first turret. Mid lane, flash blown. Top lane, let's go up here. Okay, so there you go. The lethal tempo, that's about to time out. Acadian goes for the charge. Dokla knocks him up into the wall. And Acadian really nicely able to finish that kill off just in time. And then Big coming in afterwards there with the Lulu as well for the flash ult.
Yep, they were lane swapping the whole time. So OpTic with some nice timing to get themselves those first few kills. Still behind a few hundred gold, but nothing super worrisome at this point as they did equalize the turrets. Again, they'll have to watch for mid lane, but probably not too much more that Cloud9 can do while they're waiting for some of those cooldowns to come back up. Although to their credit, Svenskeren's ult is available for one more play, looking bot side right now.
Yep, Keith's gonna jump over the wall here and force Dokla out.
Top Blade of the Ruined King, so not bad, even into someone as tanky as Ornn, particularly with only the Abyssal Mask finish there for him. Rift Herald, though, is going to be started as a result, so OpTic using their topside man advantage to try and take down an objective.
Yeah, meanwhile, though, we got Nocturne over there in the Dragon Pit. Svenskeren, I would assume, is making pretty quick work of that one. There's a trick for those of you that don't know, the Dragon auto attacks are considered spell cast. So it's great for Nocturne. You can use your W spell shield and get the double attack speed boost. Really helps you burn down dragons early on in the game. And he's able to solo that one very easily.
Yep, Detective Kobe did find Svenskeren, and now Cloud9 have a Mountain Drake as a result. Duo lane 15-9 here is pushing, getting some damage down to that turret, and also again can kind of extending this invade on the right-hand side as Golden Blue looks to steal away the blue buff. So kind of got an interestingly split map, but you think would be good news for the Shen. Like Christian is long lane right now, but can join it practically any time, given that he has both Stand United and Teleport available. So it's been a, I want to say, surprisingly slow-paced game. I think Cloud9 learning from their early level 1 aggression or mishap in the last game, and both teams happy to play kind of a bit of a slower one here.
Yeah, definitely a bit slower. Cloud9 could have had a bigger lead as well if Svenskeren wasn't a little bit too eager to go to the top side as well and try and go for that Ornn and Xin Zhao play. But even with that, they still have the lead. They still have the pressure here on the bottom side. The mid turret's very low. They've got vision throughout this quadrant of the jungle. As he said, Shen is ready to join for a dive.
All right, here we go again. Looking for Power of Evil. Flash not back up just yet. The Fury's going to land. The bomb is nice, but Sven able to take him down. Golden Glue held onto his ult as well. Here comes Dokla with the big TP. He'll already burn the shockwave. Did find Acadian. Torn up from Licorice. They're going to try and take him down. The ult barely wears off, but Licorice does go down. He's too far forward as Dokla stunned by a Braum, but the rest of Cloud9 running away.
Yeah, looks like that's going to be about it, Pastry. The tower dive, they get their target, but again, the collapse here from OpTic, and Acadian goes in with Xin Zhao. Ultimate means that they're not able to damage him from afar, and they finish off the counter kill with Rift Herald in hand. That means the tower is definitely going to go down very quickly, and that is another one off the field here for OpTic. The gold dead even after the exchange.
Yep, I think Keith is going to waste quite a lot of his time just clearing this out. Dokla even helping out. It's going to move things forward, but Cloud9 do mount up to be able to take down the Rift Herald. Zazel gets the last tick gold there. But again, using the Herald to take down another turret after what was a good start here for Cloud9.
All right, so Sven, he's going to put on his spell shield early because he doesn't want to get knocked away. But I think that was a pretty good job of Power of Evil waiting for it to time out. Then throws down his combo. Oh, Dokla, kind of a little bit of extra room there on the second pass of the ult. Doesn't quite knock anyone up, so they're not able to chase down any other kills. But as you can see under the turret, they did finish off the one exchange.
Yeah, Licorice a little too far forward. Does go down to Acadian as he dives between two turrets. Again, if Cloud9 had got them clean kills, perhaps mid-turret was the easy next thing to take. Instead, OpTic turn it around using the Rift Herald they got earlier and still find themselves, again, behind a few hundred gold, but up in turrets with the crucial mid lane turret being taken down pretty early here.
Yeah, and this is going to be more what people have been used to seeing, right? You have Shen on one team, so he's going to be split pushing. But the overall 5-on-5 composition... Oh, never mind. We've got Big.
Svenskeren found a support. Big does have to flash there.
Again, Sven does not want to flash after these guys. A lot of the times on Nocturne, you can flash early in the direction that they're running, so there's no options for your enemies to flash out of your Fear Tether range. That's a little bit dangerous if you don't have enough vision or whatever, but if you're sure you can grab up the kill, then you kind of deny that Tether break.
It's clever from Golden Glue, hiding his ball in the Raptor pit, I think hoping to catch Power of Evil with the Shockwave. But again, C9 continue their pressure, their duel in, takes the top turret, equalizing that score, and they're still pressuring the bot side as well. Keith even played the Ruin King's Dokla, just trying to get some damage done.
Yep, Keith on this Lucian is very well set up to top the damage charge.
Ooh, Dokla again, taking some damage, but gets out with the charge as bot turret also falls. OpTic continuing to stay ahead in objectives, just only slightly, but Cloud9 are just really enforcing their will onto OpTic right now. Kind of using all this pressure, using the big globals as ult back for Nocturne and ult almost back up for Licorice, means that they will finally equalize the turrets and fail the outer ring.
Yep, 3-3 in turrets now, and it's going to be the reset for Cloud9. They left a lot of deeper vision up on the top quadrant of the map, but now that we're down to the secondary turrets, probably in for another little bit of a lull until the Cloud Drake actually makes its way out onto the map. Until then, it's literally just reset to buy your items so you have the best possible combat effectiveness for this dragon fight that could occur, and trying to set up your vision beforehand so you can enter that dragon fight with more information to position better. Because again, remember the goals here for Cloud9, Shen Nocturne Dive, probably want to pass off the Orianna Ball there as well for the Shockwave, and take down Power of Evil or Big. Arrow here on the Xayah should feel pretty comfortable ulting backwards into the rest of the team and trying to delay a lot of that, but it's also going to be a lot on Dokla and his peel here with Ornn. Huge sweeping team fight ultimate.
And you can see on those items that getting relatively close to 2 on most of the carries here. Keith has Black Cleaver almost done, Blade of the Ruin King already done, and Ludens for Golden Glue. It looks like Zonya's coming up as the next one after that. But still, Essence Weaver plus the Zeal Death Arrow means he's not doing too bad, and Power Weaver also has his Seraphs already transformed, working on his second item as well. So whenever this next fight around the Drake happens, assuming we see it, should be pretty close. Again, the gold is still holding only a few thousand up for Cloud9.
Well, if you look at the map right now, it's a dual lane top for Cloud9, so they are not going for this dragon at all. They are hard committing to the push on the top side, and they're kind of daring OpTic to split their resources and not answer and go for the dragon and saying, okay, fine, no, send them on down there. We're going to keep Keith and Zeyzal up on this top side, wearing you down, and not decide to come over at all. Because even though AD carries take teleport now, Keith is on cooldown, and there's no way he's going down there. Sven, though.
Base checks a little early. Arcadian here. The bomb is good. The damage is massive. But does get the fear and flashes away. Licorice also commits his ultimate.
Yep, they did leave the top side unattended for now. So in the end, it might be the exchange we talked about where Cloud9 are going to try and take down this turret. And OpTic are cleaning up the dragon. Doku's going to try and push him off, though, so maybe they don't even have to trade.
Yep, just buy some time. Has his ult ready if he needs to. Does get stunned, but pretty tanky right now. And the rest of his team's roaming up there. So with the threat of the long range on Horn, I have to think Cloud9 just need to back away.
Yeah, they're starting to give up some of the pressure here in the game. Nocturne is a terrible champion for face-checking Fog of War, for looking into brush and being the one to go solo get vision for a team. It's a melee champion with no dash that builds full offense. There's no way you're getting out of there unless you flash. So you can see as soon as Zin jumps on you, he's going to be able to outduel you at this point. And the special comes down, the fear goes down, and the call for a Shen ultimate, in addition to flash, goes down. And those are some significant cooldowns here for Cloud9. Let's see if OpTic can actually punish during this window.
Cloud9 and Licorice, though, still keeping things strong in the bot half of the map. Titanic Hydra, Banner of Command are his first two items, which should indicate pretty strongly what he's looking to do, at least in the mid-game. Just draw pressure around. And you can see that OpTic have done a pretty good job navigating, defending a lot of their turrets, but Cloud9 is still kind of abusing that Shen to try and get themselves a map advantage, which is so far so good for them.
Yep. A lot of wards being spent here around the Baron now as well.
Everyone's getting frisky.
Uh-huh.
Early Barons these days.
I mean, having the first ones down there means so much. Because, again, the junglers are not going to be the ones that want to do the face checking, do the placement. And since the tanks have been constantly splitting here on the bottom side, they are not viable options. Keith and Zeyzal, once again, pushing the top wave, rotating here into the jungle.
OpTic, though, already have more people here in the top side. But Cloud9's dual lane just chilling out. Not trying to get themselves attacked by Zinjao. Arcadian maybe thinks differently. They find one control ward. And again, Licorice continuing to push up, and Orianna also getting things pushed up in the mid lane. So OpTic is starting to get a little bit confined against these tier 2 turrets. Cloud9 doing a good job keeping the pressure up and also keeping that vision pretty well lit here in the left side.
Cloud9 definitely have OpTic corralled here a little bit, backed into a corner, but OpTic have so much potential damage they can output that it's a pretty dangerous opponent to keep crowded up there. That's why they're being very cautious and tentative when they're pushing into the jungle here. Definitely respecting a lot of the counterplay here from OpTic, because if Doku teleports in with an Ornn ultimate, if they don't keep track of all the wards of OpTic and then Ornn gets behind them, that could be very, very scary. Licorice, that's why his job of constantly pushing on the Shen with his Titanic Hydra, with his banner, has been very important. He's pressuring Doku on the side lane, continually keeping it moved up, and wearing down on that turret.
I'm curious to see what the teams are waiting for as well. Perhaps just the next objective, as the map is kind of stalemated at this point. I mean, everyone's working towards 3 items. Keith about halfway through his next one. Golden Blue also doing the same.
All right, if they're starting to group up here, we got to start going over the champion interactions too. We mentioned the Ornn ultimate, how devastating that can be if you don't keep track of him. I mean, Zeyzal, kind of one of the stars from Academy for Cloud9 that has been put onto this roster that so many people have been hyping up, and actually multiple teams kind of looking at this guy as an opportunity. It's going to be on him with the Braum Unbreakable to keep track of the cooldowns, save it to break the Ornn ultimate, unless there's something extremely dire that that calls for an earlier one.
Yeah, and again, Dirkwood is forced to be pulled back down. It's kind of a classic thing in a lot of Shin vs tank matchups. This one no different. Your tank generally wants to be with your team, using that high-impact ultimate.
Actually going to the source.
Causing problems. All right. They decided that the best way to attack this is to just try and kill the Shen. Fast going down, but Doku does get the knockup. Licorice is able to get out of the way.
And that gives up positioning on mid.
All right, still a minion left, but the little caster creep, sorry, melee creep does die. Still enough damage onto that turret is big. Yeah, doesn't want to go too close to the C9 damage dealers.
I really like the control here from Cloud9. You know, even with everyone being so skeptical of all the Academy guys being moved up onto the roster here, it doesn't look like they're playing with fear, right? Definitely a lot of control at this stage where Licorice is saying calmly, you know what, I can escape from this, keep pushing on mid lane, you know, make them pay for coming to try and kill me, and they don't even burn the Shen flash.
And again, credit to the newer members of this team, right? Golden Glue and Zeyzal did a lot of work in the Academy team as far as calling shots and navigating everyone around the map and actually meshing pretty well with their new teammates, despite what I assume can only be some limited practice. So again, these newer players, I mean, Zeyzal, a rookie, Golden Glue has played before, but has never had truly that much time to play a full split and really make himself known.
Ooh.
So good on the leadership front there, at least for now, as Licorice starting to get some real work done as he takes down a turret.
Yeah, he's got the banner pushing with him with the Titanic, and with all of OpTic at Baron, he's going to start to wear away on this turret as well. So OpTic already really being drawn across the map and not being able to react very quickly here to the C9 setup.
Well, it looks like they're just using the time to go back and spend their gold, though. Keith is almost there in item 3, but he TP's back to top lane to keep that shoving.
That inhibitor turret, I mean, even though Shen slowly works at it, that thing is almost dead. The banner spam, the constant AoE from the Titanic Hydra, and the diligent work of Licorice is taking its toll on the base of OpTic Gaming.
And now he's a bit tankier. He's moving pretty quickly towards level 16 because of how much solo time he's had in the side lanes to get the waves pushing. Like, as far as really forcing OpTic's hand to do something around the Baron area, Licorice is pretty close to just forcing what looks like two pretty bad decisions. So OpTic gonna have to react a little bit faster here and either hope for a big steal or just force a play. They tried it with the Shen before. On bot side, it didn't work, but something of that nature is in order.
Yeah, and if you look at the tools that OpTic have to hard force a fight, the Ornn ultimate can be countered pretty quickly by Braum Unbreakable if Zeyzal's in position and if he is ready with the cooldown. So then it would have to be Acadian on Xin Zhao making a risky play to charge in, immediately using your ult so you don't get focused down, and then relying probably on Lulu to keep him afloat there holding the front line. But it's definitely going to have to be multiple forms here because it's not going to be an easy point and click for them. And Cloud9 are doing a good job of not giving them the openings. Look how clean the map is of OpTic wards. There is one on the top lane, this little straggler boy out here in the top brush that's not really going to give you a lot of value. And this one control ward that, yeah, there he is. The one lone one-hit ward still going strong up there.
I think it's a well-named ultimate here for Nocturne. Just because OpTic really don't feel very safe in the dark at all. Again, moving together as 5, knowing they need to push things down, but that gives Mr. Licorice all the time in the world. Even without the banner minion, just to push the waves in, deny that farm, and just keep pressing the turret. And Licorice's like, well, no one's here. I'm just going to give it a hit and run away. Maybe 2. All right, now time to leave. Nope, he's committing. Spirit Surfer drops. One more hit. One more hit. One more hit. Oh no, he's messed around.
You liar!
Backdoor protection kicked in. I'm sorry.
Allow to be one more time. See what happens. Yeah, he is going to have to back off though. As soon as the extra resistances come in from those, it definitely is deceptive how long you're going to have to stay around to finish off that turret. And eventually he has to back off, much like the rest of the squad here fighting over red buff.
Well, sticking down the lane for a while again. Licorice knows he has so much pressure built up here in the side lane. And there's Svenskeren going to go in looking for Arrow, actually going to force out the ult. Does get the fear in the sky, but now flashing forward. Ulti's great with the fissure, and Licorice in the mix as Keith does finally take down Arrow. Forced to flash the shockwave, is immune there by the stasis from Acadian. Power of Evil already burnt the ulti, and Dokla very late to this fight. They will get a pick onto Zeyzal. Acadian is able to take one down, and this actually might be a turnaround here for OpTic. Golden Glue getting chased down by the Ornn, but OpTic no more chase left.
Yeah, so the only way you get out of the Nocturne fear is if you break that tether range. If you were able to use the ultimate and get out of range, then that would break it. But if you, just because you use the Xayah ultimate, it just means you're not targetable. But since the spell has already been cast and it's on you, that's why the fear is still going to go through. So, you know, Arrow does land back down, gets taken out immediately. And that is 1 kill over to Cloud9. Not the biggest of victories, and they actually don't get much, you know, from the map from it. So it's not, you know, the end-all, be-all, whatever of this game. But it is a kill, and some more cooldowns going to be out here from Arrow. The flash was blown early, and then the ultimate tried to be used.
Really well timed ult from Zeyzal, and again, everyone just piling in, but that top was certainly stopped Golden Glue.
Yeah, and then we had the collapse here, as you're talking about. Zeyzal got very low. They were trying to get the counter kill.
Tip of the spear to the face. Close. Got him. And Trinity Force is now finished for Arcadian, so I was going to mention that his build has kind of taken a while to get things going, but now feeling pretty good. I mean, much like Nocturne Xin builds a lot of offense that can't really get out of situations, but he killed him. That's all that matters.
Yeah, all his defenses are about the ultimate, where, you know, the ranged champions aren't going to be able to threaten you from outside of that area, and you kind of have to worry about that positioning and the rest of your team playing around you when you go all in. Everybody really waiting, though, for the culmination of all this tension and what is going to happen around the Baron.
C9 again have built up a pretty strong lead, but they need to kind of get a few more steps forward to really break it open and have the game get to a point where it's one step away from being finished. And Licorice and that little inhibitor turret down the bottom is kind of the thread of hope OpTic are hanging on to.
And one of the interesting changes recently to turrets was that they regenerate quicker. So the outer turret that he got to within 1 hit, as you said, is actually regenerating pretty quickly here, and it'll regenerate up to that 3rd health and require a little bit more time. But again, he has had constant pressure, and especially with the banner just being used, he should be able to get it anyway.
Yep, still here now, and I think OpTic a little too grouped as Licorice were able to take this down. Now going to pressure the inhibitor, and now it's time for OpTic to make a very difficult choice. Sending Turkle over right now, but I don't think he can solo stop Licorice and his banner cannon.
Yeah, Banner Boy would probably be able to finish it off by himself,
Right,
but
here's big, gonna run a bit more interference. His Power of Evil gonna run even more, but Licorice zooming away.
can't catch him. And the rest of the team, while he's doing all of this by himself, pushes up the mid wave, and it looks like they're trying to sweep out, again, all the vision around Baron that OpTic just sacrificed their bottom turret to get.
Missed one ward there, just right of Zeyzal. Otherwise, complete control of the river here in the Brown area. Oh, tell a lie. Sorry, Kobe. There's one there they'll get, I'm sure, in short order.
All right, Licorice back at it again. And this guy, too, remember last split when, you know, they had so much success with him on these carry champions and kind of lacked when he was on the tanks. And people started to get kind of critical. They're like, okay, well, Licorice, yeah, he's super good on the, you know, the carries when people are camping for him. But Cloud9 didn't seem that dynamic. Now, I mean, this Shen split push has been extremely effective for him. And he played very well yesterday as well. So definitely showing some differences and some improvements during the break that they had during MSI.
Dancing around Tokla as well with Svenskaren pretty close. Nocturnal out. Who they found? They got the jungler. They can take him now. It's a real good pick to get. He is going to be fit. Licorice wants the taunt. He will find it. And Zeyzal able to grab the shutdown.
Ooh, big pick right there for Cloud9. Licorice does have to flash out afterwards, and Dokla goes for it.
Oh, there again, waiting it out, but Dokla does not get the re-hit on it now. He's actually stranded a little too far forward, about to get stunned by the Braum passive. Does get stunned up. Damage is just enough as Golden Glue collects a kill.
Oh, that's gotta be the Baron then. There are 3 members of OpTic left alive to try and steal this or try and threaten C9, and some of them are actually fairly low here for Cloud9. I would say if Ziggs had his ultimate available, they might think twice. The Power of Evil did just use it. Cooldown's really short, though.
They're trying to find some of the carries. Good double shockwave there for Golden Glue. Buys time. Power of Evil gets a ward in the back, but again, controllers will shut it off. He doesn't have his ulti, so he's going to have to reach out with a bomb and just try and snag it away. Sven with the smite ready to go.
Ult on 3-second cooldown here for Power of Evil.
They're buying time. They may have waited a little too long. Cloud9 are actually tanking a little too much damage. They finally waited out. They will get the Baron. Licorice even over the wall with the taunt just to try and make sure it went down. So Cloud9, after all that dancing, finally snag a date.
Whew. That was some hard work to get that Baron there.
Speaking of hard work.
And the minions get a little distracted, not focusing the inhibitor.
Not working hard enough, unfortunately. Maybe work smarter, not harder for those little guys. But still, the pressure is there, and Cloud9, especially with the Baron, should be able to knock down a couple of inhibitors.
The long-awaited Baron buff. All right, let's take another look here, though. Because again, like we've been saying with these two junglers, they have no dashes to get out. So as soon as they see Acadian there, even a little bit deep into the jungle in that corridor, Sven goes for it. They find the pick. Cloud9 all collapse in a timely manner. And they were even able to get that secondary kill afterwards, which led to the Baron. If they weren't able to get both Acadian and Dokla, then that would have been a very, very dangerous Baron. But Cloud9 now, with that coveted buff, can return to the split push game.
All right, we'll see just how much they can get done with it, though. Again, Licorice has basically got the bot inhib dead to rights after the work before the Baron, so have to think, especially with the banner minion up here, thanks to Zazel's banner of command joining the fray. That tier 2 turret was dead. Don't worry about that one. It's these juicy inhibitor ones that Cloud9 are after. OpTic looking to defend.
Yep, it's definitely going to be difficult. Banner comes through. Bottom inhibitor's probably just dead to Licorice. Yep, there we go. Don't even have to take a look. He's able to finish the job once again. And they also have Gordon Glue ushering up the mid lane minions as well. So all sides here under attack from OpTic, and their options are becoming very, very few. Maybe Dokla moves over, tries to get an ultimate away from Zazel on someone else, go for Golden Glue or something, but...
Ooh. Acadian jumped in, thought that might spell the end, but Cloud9 don't turn back around for a potential re-engage. Licorice also doing a good job tying up on, I think just if nothing else, if he tries to ult cross that, don't let him reactivate. Cloud9 have been playing very patient this game.
Controlled game here from the mixed roster. Looks like they definitely want to put their first win on the board. Acadian, though, trying to clear out some area to work with here as Sven has been lurking around in the brush.
Sees the boss going to go away, but it does not reveal his position. And again, Baron's still up for a minute longer, and Keith needs a couple of autos to try and take down the turret. Actually, one left. Banner minion does get it done, and mid gets cracked as well. So don't forget, supers are also inhabiting the bot lane as well, and Licorice is continuing to escort them in with the Baron buff. So OpTic are really running out of time to force a fight here.
Yeah, their base is crumbling around them. Now there are no more defenses, and it's exposed inhibitors. Acadian!
Yep, dives in, Keith dashes out. That's about all they really have to apply some pressure, and OpTic are just looking to lose all three inhibs. There's one in mid going down. Keith needs a bit more work to do here. Should be able to take that one down as well. And OpTic, like, when are you going to do something?
It's too late. All their inhibitors are now down. That's a big death sentence with super minions gonna come double stacked. All three lanes will be flooded here. And Cloud9, after all that hard work, finally retreat, finally go purchase, and look to finish out this game.
Maybe take them out and joke on the way out. That was up for like 10 minutes, I feel like. And Cloud9 were like, you know what? It would help us siege.
I mean,
we have so much pressure that we might as well just keep going.
It'll help you kill 2 Nexus turrets and the Nexus a little bit faster.
Don't need it now. But long before they got the Baron, they could have taken it. Instead, I think, again, very dedicated to the patient 1-3-1 strategy and have really just ground OpTic into dust at this point.
Yeah, definitely true. And there they are. Double siege minions, supers coming down, all 3 lines. It's going to have to be OpTic jumping the gun. Just go for anyone that you see. Because even though there's a Shen on the other team, if you're surrounded by not only the entire Cloud9 team and super minions from all sides, you literally cannot do enough damage with these champions to kill off all those minions and fight a team fight. So you've waited too long. You literally can't output that much DPS. And that's why Cloud9 are still sticking to the patient gameplay here. They're just moving up with the minions.
Yep.
Their best allies.
Timing all their waves as best they can, getting them shoved in. Trying to be consistent with how they all push in, but can be a little tricky. OpTic, though, backs very firmly against the wall as Cloud9 will just escort the minions in. And for them, hopefully to victory. OpTic they have to try something, and I think they know it, but the Ono is going to try and kick it off. They look for Keith, they will grab him, but Zazel, they're burning the ult. They're just going to, again, buy some more time. Acadian pops the ulti. There's the paranoia from Sven. We're going to dive in, but he's actually going to try and take down Acadian. Almost gets it done. Sven pops the stopwatch and flashes out to safety. Still on the front side, tied up as Golden Glue. He's able to get that kill, and that should be enough. The Nexus turrets are so low as OpTic may keep trying to fight. Power Fever gets tagged by a shockwave, just barely flipped over from left to right, but the turrets are falling. C9 have opened up well and truly a lead that OpTic cannot come back from. And with an exposed Nexus, OpTic are fighting, hoping the Fountain Lasers get something done, but Cloud9 will rally back to victory and close out their weekend with a win.
Keith, Zazel, Golden Glue, Licorice, and Sven Skaren grab their victory, go 1-1 here in the first week. And OpTic and Power of Evil unable to make much happen in that game.
Yeah, it just felt like Cloud9 knew what the game plan was, stuck very firmly to it, and for a team that, again, has not had that much time to play together, just based on how long their previous roster has been playing in the LCS, looking pretty coordinated.
Definitely true. Yeah, so both of these teams are going to end the week 1-1. It's not the worst start in the world, but definitely some promising stuff there from Cloud9 towards the end. It was just very, very methodical gameplay.
Yep, again, wondered, what does Nocturne Shen do? Discovered very quickly what Nocturne Shen does. And even though we didn't see that many ultimates from Sven Skaren, I think the threat of Nocturne Ultimate did enough of a job that game. And even the ones they did use, apart from maybe some of the earlier ones, were quite effective in just getting those key kills, which eventually led to that Baron.
The dedication to the split push pays off.
Goodbye, Banner of Command.
Yeah, actually, that was the last Banner of Command game that we will ever have for North America. That thing has been deleted from the game, and we'll be changing, updating patches here next week.
There you go. See, perfect way to end the weekend. Banner of Command storming to victory to close it all out as Vaultboy himself gives some love to the camera. Again, has to feel good to win. Golden Glue's had a turbulent history in the NELCS games he has played in, but he does finish the weekend with a win.
Yeah, look at the damage spread. Pretty even for all those guys, too. I mean, Licorice is #1 on the Shen. Because technically, he was in the side lane, dealing blows there with the Ornn. Oftentimes, that'll happen with a lot of tanks, and people see the damage numbers. But honestly, his banner as well, and the constant pressure that he kept up in the side lane was just too much for OpTic to deal with. And it kind of neutralized, it felt like, any sort of shot calling or aggressive play from OpTic. They never really chose the moment to make the play elsewhere. And if you're never going to make that play to break what Cloud9 are doing with the split there, then you're not going to be able to do it at the end when your base is already flooded.
And I think it's easy to say, well, why didn't OpTic do anything, right? I mean, the tools they had were pretty minimal, but it's a great tool for starting any sort of fight. I think Licorice deserves maybe the most credit for just stopping Ornn from really getting to a fight in any reasonable time. Because when he was there, Licorice was already busy pressuring the base. So
yeah, Ornn's there pushing you, and then Shen's there pushing you, and then you also have to worry about the Braum
and the Nocturne
if you do get there.
Flew around there sometimes. Well done for us for now, but let's set it down to Ovally and Cloud9's mid laner.
Thanks, guys. The Scrim God is back. Golden Glue, what's it like to pick up a win on the LCS stage again?
Yeah, it feels great. I feel like we've been working really hard. We've had no off days. And we've been really like a family working so hard together and kind of just ignoring everything else that's been happening. So it feels great to finally have that work pay off.
What's the practice and training schedule, for Academy like compared to LCS?
It's a little weird because we have the Academy team play Thursday, Friday, and then they usually come to the matches on Saturday, Sunday. So I think you overall get less practice when you play Academy since you have to be ready to watch LCS and such, where when you're playing LCS, you get a scrim on Academy days. So it's pretty similar, but a little different.
And yet here you, Keith, and Zazel are playing on the big stage. Now, I was happy to see your name return, but I know that there were quite a few Cloud9 fans who were a little frustrated with the roster swaps. How did you deal with the reaction?
I didn't. I just didn't look at it at all. I honestly didn't read any of the comments because I already knew what was going to happen. Jinsen, Sneaky, and Smoothie are all amazing players, so it's fair for everyone to be upset with players who aren't as, they don't have as much experience as those players. So I'm just working really hard to see, try to make everyone happy and get us some wins.
So we heard earlier from Jack and Rayford about the roster swaps, but what's your understanding of the changes? And how would I say, what do you think is the state of the team?
I would say the biggest reason for the changes is just our teamwork, the way that we work together in and out of the game was the biggest reason. Me, Keith, and Zazel all have really good relationships and synergies with play styles and outside of game. And that's kind of why the move, I think, was made. I mean, you could also, Reaper and Jack know more. I'm just playing. So, but that's what I think.
So what would you say to the Cloud9 fans who now have their eyes on you three to help pick up some of those Cloud9 wins?
Well, I would say I'm going to do my best to make you proud, but, it's big shoes to fill. So hopefully I can do it.
Well, congratulations again on your win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. A 1-1 weekend for the Cloud9 boys with the roster swap coming in here on week 1. And a lot of people will look at this weekend and perhaps even say could have been a 2-0. And so largely an impressive performance put on by these academy players as they slot up to the big stage.
Yeah, this game was definitely a little slow, much slower than other teams would play, but at the same time, it was also really low risk. They knew the other team didn't have good engage. The only engage they had was the Ornn, which you can block with the Braum, and they knew they could split push to victory, so they kind of just did that.
Yeah, I mean, you have Xayah, Ziggs, two really strong wave clear champions in a meta where some people don't pick any wave clear, and then the other team doesn't go and try and go the other direction. They take a pretty similar strategy with Ori and Lucian, so definitely not what we're seeing typically right now, and as a result, you do get this slower pace game.
Right, on both sides,
Yeah.
we saw kind of a difficulty for teams to push advantages forward and ultimately close it out. But I think kind of to some degree what it speaks to, and Golden Glue mentioned it there, that he has big shoes to fill in terms of not only the names, the superpower, the superstar power of the names that they have to fill, but also the experience. Again, just being in so many situations on an LCS stage that you know how to react and you know how to recover. These guys haven't had that experience, and yet I largely find by looking at them that they're playing that way.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I'd say Zazel doesn't have that experience as the LCS rookie. Golden Glue, over 80 LCS games. Keith as well. I remember I made a video once about whether or not Keith or Wild Turtle should be the starter for TSM. They've never actually been that good on the stage, right? Golden Glue and Keith, which is why another reason I think it was so surprising and why Cloud9 fans rebelled so much against the changes. They thought that these guys are like known commodities, so to speak.
Right.
But you can actually improve over time, which is what Golden Glue and Keith want to prove.
Now, that said, OpTic was the team that got out to a slight early lead with in terms of kills, of course, because Farm was coming in for Cloud9 as well as some turrets. But maybe a bit of an overreach here by Sven Skaren, as it will result in 2 kills for OpTic Gaming.
And this is a situation where with Dokula on such little mana, you think maybe they could try and turn around, but the bot lane was swapping topside. You have to imagine Keith was communicating this, and so it kind of put C9 in full retreat mode. The Ziggs ult coming in over the top basically made this a 5v2, so whether they stayed and fought or not, that was going to get flipped around. But they didn't convert too much off that, and you see the gold lead basically never really was in OpTic's favor, and that mostly came down to that split push pressure that the Shen was putting out after the game kind of started opening up a little bit more.
Yeah, this was very much kind of a map and team play victory, which is what Golden Glue at the end of the interview was saying, is how he feels like the synergy and the communication between himself, Keith, and Zazel is really good, and it felt like Licorice and Sven could be on the same page as him the whole time. And even though Power of Evil was trying to throw bombs all over the map, every time you looked at the mini-map, it was those 2 side lanes pushed as far as they possibly could be, and OpTic could never really get a foothold.
And there were a couple times where OpTic could have. They just really flubbed the counter engage, because a couple times Nocturne goes in with Shen on top, and then they get one person, then the Ornn ults were just not there. There was a skirmish in the jungle, missed that one. Braum blocked another one, then another one just completely whiffed the redirect on the second half of the ultimate.
Execution, execution, execution. The one thing that I will call out for Cloud9, and we talked about it a little bit off air, the idea that they're the ones picking up this Nocturne pick. We've seen it played to relative success in other regions, the LCK most notably. I know it's hit the ban table once or twice, but aside from that, no one else seems to be reaching for this pick. What are the kind of advantages that this pick gives maybe a team like C9 in terms of options and strategy?
It definitely muddles team fights a lot and definitely helps in split push. I mean, the fact that they've ran Shen Nocturne, that's a very classic team composition all the way back to 2012 in League of Legends. There's also a few little things with the pick. The people have now started picking up Lethal Tempo, which gives you that huge amount of attack speed right off the bat. With the new Celerity rune that's going to be more AD for your move speed. When you proc your E and get the move speed towards him, it actually gives you 20 extra AD. So like the instance power of that pick is almost higher than it's ever been.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons I think teams are picking it.
20 extra AD and then
On
uncapped,
top of
uncapped
what your
attack
Q is
speed.
giving you.
Okay, let's go. Playing
And the
some
lethal
Nocturne
tempo.
next patch. All right, let's see how our analysts stacked up against the dads today in the predictions game. Avali and Cat's dad proved to be the superior minds at the end of the day.
Hold on, that's not even sort of by alphabetical order.
One.
Like they just decided to put Avali above.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Ladies first.
I was not a part of that.
Dads first.
Yeah, ladies, dads first. There it is. Well, 4-1 Mark's there, and then of course we have a small pack at 3-2. Mark, myself, and Riv's dad, Azael, and Captain Flower's dad's bringing up the rear. But ultimately, I want to now see how you guys stacked up against the fathers. Mark, you rode or doed is not the. It doesn't work that way.
I'll ride it.
It's only ride or
go.
die. The only ride or die. Okay, you ride or died with your father, so you end up with a similar scoreline of 3-2. Jat, you got anything to say?
I was with Mark.
I don't think so.
How was your dad?
Should have listened to the wisdom of your father.
I should have. He was
on
like,
that CLG Jat, man. Come on.
keep the faith. That's actually.
It actually only works when
doing it
Jad
for you.
doesn't believe. If he actually picked that, both him and his dad would have been wrong.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
true. That would have been the way for that would have been the path to victory for us. Either way, thank you to all the dads for playing along, and a very happy Father's Day to you, Dad. I love you. That's going to do it for us here on the desk. Thank you for watching. Now it's time to toss it over to Freak, Azael, and Fox's Hooney to break down an exciting Week 1 on NALCS tonight.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to NALC tonight. As Dash just said, I am Freak. That on the end is Azael. And this is Echo Fox's top laner, the air quotes really required here, Hooney. Bot lane / jungle aficionado. That's been awesome. So first things first, Week 1 of the summer split is complete. Let's see how the teams are stacked up in 1 week's 2 games apiece. Give me everyone's first impressions. I mean, first place, Echo Fox. You had to expect that.
I mean, it was pretty able to predict it, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, we're kind of strongest team at the, like, all of season, like, last split. So, you know, I was not kind of expecting actually being, like, first place is that easy, but we still made it.
What position are you gonna play next, Tony?
I mean, I'm playing for Phil.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay, you play Phil.
whatever.
It's random. It's just random.
I mean, whatever. Like, whatever at the back, just give me, I will carry.
One thing I want to call out is TSM 2-0 as well. It's a team that has almost always been sort of flamed for not adapting well to the new patches. This is probably the most different league has ever been, and they're off to a pretty good start, 2-0. So I think that's pretty happy for the TSM fans as well. But we can move on and talk about more of what's happened so far. In the LCS, I mean, it's been such a crazy, wild world, right? With 8.11 coming through, 8.12 is going to be next week. And you're one of the only teams that's actually been role swapping. I want to sort of talk about that. Like, is this just finding the right champions for you? Like, what's the reasoning behind?
I mean, I feel like there was a lot problem that having like a lot of team, like really a lot of team that can't get used to, like let's say 80 carry. Obviously, they're not gonna be like good as much as when you play a bruiser, like not actually a pure 80 carry, right? So like that was like we picked a problem that instead of like actually try to feed them for a bruiser or like AP major, like why don't we just put me that playing Yasuo like something like that stuff, right?
Easier for Alltech to
Yeah,
learn
also,
Mundo
like-
than it is for him to learn Yasuo.
Yeah, for sure. Mundo is like obviously like really easy champion. And also example for today too, like jungler is not gonna be good at like Talia, like you know, like is able to predict it. Like that's why I think they gave us like kind of Talia because like, they didn't think that I'm gonna play actually Talia jungle.
Yeah. Did you watch LCK last night? Because Fly was playing on a Super Talia, but he was the Braum, and his jungler was playing Talia jungle. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's kind of funny that like, but there's like when you do super jungle, like you should know that where should you go. So kind of like jungler is better to be like junglers being like super jungle that like jungler usually know like where should it be.
Where to be on the map.
Yeah, so like it more makes sense that when you're super jungle, like sending jungler to actually being super jungle.
That's interesting. There's like a mix between like you need to know the role sometimes, you know the champion other times, and like you have to battle those.
Yeah, like you need to balance it like well, but it's like kind of hard to deal with it. Obviously.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it depends a lot based on what champions you're playing, right? Like if you want to play Darius bot, then that's probably a lot easier for Alltech to learn than Yasuo bot and things like that. So it kind of makes sense to swap around on that. I'm kind of curious on your general thoughts as far as like what, you know, there's a lot of debate on if marksmans are still good, like if you can still play an AD carry in the bottom lane, like what is the correct way to play? Do you think that it is still pretty like relatively even, or is it just based on the strengths of your team?
I mean, it's like definitely it's gonna be like our strength that like actually we're swapping.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like also we can still do like standard. We haven't shown yet, and you know people's not gonna be able to like expect
The
it.
least expected is Huni on a tank.
Huni's the best Lucian in NA. I'm expecting the Lucian bot lane as soon as it gets unbanned, of course. Now, I do want to open the floor to all of you viewers at home. Let us know what topic you want us to cover next. Check out the vote on the bottom of the screen and spam chat with what you want to hear us talk about. The meta, Cloud9's roster swap, Huni's role swap, we did a little bit already, or the Golden Guardians upset over Team Liquid. Now, as you can see, there's a new set. We want to show it off, so we're going to put our pro players to the test every week in a new game we're calling Scion Speedway. We'll load our pros onto the practice tool with a custom-made racetrack, and they're going to use their ultimate to get the fastest time possible as you race through the rift, around hairpin turns, and avoiding obstacles along the way until you cross the finish line between the opposing Nexus turrets. There are a few rules. You can't go out of bounds, you can't flash over the walls, and you can only use your summoner spells or active items once a piece. Otherwise, you'll receive a penalty. So that's it. So Huni, head on over, do your best on our best friend testing station, and let us know when you are ready. Yeah, Huni, go for it.
Let's go.
You ready for that one?
I mean,
otherwise, you at home can bring this up.
I'm not playing if I'm not the best.
Yeah, of course.
He's gonna have to beat us though, because we both did this earlier.
Yeah.
To give kind of like a baseline, a very low baseline for what people might get. So Huni's got to know if he loses to us, he may maybe losing the spot on Echo Fox.
I mean, at least we're better Scion players,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
Okay,
clearly.
so Huni, you are ready to go whenever you think it's ready to unpause.
Cool.
All right, and hopefully we can bring the feed up for you guys, and it will be beautiful.
Am I starting?
Yes.
Right after?
Whenever you're ready.
Let's go.
All right. And he's off to the races. Of course, it is infinite cooldown to the ultimate. You got to juke around this one through the base gate and up around this turn.
He's doing pretty well so far.
Yeah.
Really, the hardest part, I think, of this is kind of this next big turn around this, as well as the target dummies up in the river.
Yeah. There's the active items plus
yeah.
Predator.
Yeah, so he's actually popping all his actives now. He still, I think, has his flash available that he can use. But remember, he can't actually flash over the walls. So there's a bunch of target dummies up here that he's got to avoid. He's doing pretty well so far.
Good. And you kind of got the outside corner. It's going to be a bit of a slower turn. There's the flash to build some space. And then it's a little bit more finagling around these turns.
Oh, he got there! This is going to be a really good time. He's beat us for sure. He's beat us for sure.
Yeah, for sure, number one.
Perfect. Boom.
All right. Yeah.
Nicely done.
That was actually really good times. There we go. We'll get the time for you pretty soon.
Yeah. We'll get the confirmation on the official time. But I'm pretty sure he smashed us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got both of us.
His spot on Echo Fox is safe for now. We'll see if
come on over
We'll see
if
if
you
anyone can best Huni in the coming weeks.
What's funny is my first run in practice, we gave him a few minutes to practice as well. My first practice run was way better than my listed time. I choked under pressure when the stopwatch came out, so in my mind, I was 4 seconds faster. And then you go Huni 45-10. Solid 2.5 seconds over
There you go. Well done.
But actually, you guys played that pretty well, Dad. Like, I thought that this was like my perfect timing. That, or like, I think I'm pretty sure like I didn't have any mistake, but still it's like 2-second difference.
I think maybe after the target dummies, when you went around that corner, it might be better to use your summoners there, because when you start your ult and stop your ult, because you have to like start it and then stop it again because it's such a sharp corner.
Kind of, yeah.
Maybe, but like there's little optimizations, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that was, I mean, you did really well.
Yeah, I mean it's like so hard to tell like which is like optimal.
items?
Yeah.
You actually bought things that I didn't, because you bought, I'm trying to remember the other item you bought, because I got like an extra spellbinder, because it's like 10% move speed on it.
Yeah.
But you had a different active, and I forget what it was. But
I
he had
just had
Yomas.
the-
Ghost Blade.
Yeah, he bought Yomas. I forgot
okay.
about Yomas, so did
Yeah, I used just like coin for the 10 move speed, but I didn't know what was better. I
Oh,
had no
cool.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, the Ghost Blade is like when you're like outside of the combat, right? So like you get
yeah.
the 40, which is like, that's the 10%, but you're not gonna, you won't be able to use Pembina 2 times. So that's
Sure,
why
yeah.
I buy like Ghost Blade, so you can use like active item.
Right, yeah.
So that's why I think like Ghost Blade was pretty good.
I'm also pretty interested to see if we actually have someone who's like a Scion, actual Scion player, because he can
Right.
bounce off the walls and you can do some
Best
crazy
top
drifting
laner.
stuff.
He's got to be the best Scion player.
He already admitted to me that he's not a Scion player. He's more of a Yasuo Riven type of guy.
Yeah, well, I know talking about him on the lounge, you're like, never played Maokai in my life, and you're like 6-1 at SKT with it, so he's a liar. Either way, we're going to check in with your guys' votes at home and see your next topic of conversation, and it is the Cloud9 roster swap by a landslide.
Okay.
This is what you want to talk about. Once again, it is Golden Glue and Keith and Zazel coming in, subbing out Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie. Did you interact with this? Did you scrim them or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we scream kind of against them, and then they look pretty well, and like we actually learned a lot from them.
From their main team or from this current roster?
This current roster, because like they were screaming like really well. At the same time, I think they're like playing more in this meta, and same time they're like kind of probably like try more things, and also the Golden Glue played really well against Favorite too. Like that's why they could have like played more like instead of like 20-minute like extra, they have more chance to actually can comeback it. I feel like pretty good because like I feel like they can like try more stuff because like obviously they're like younger or like new player because like, that's not like, you know, I don't know what am I saying, but
yeah, maybe more hungry, right?
Yeah,
like
kind of.
We talked like Reaper and Jack talked about like the fire that the players had. They were really driven to try to play on the LCS stage, and sometimes I think new players coming in do have a lot of that. And to your point, I mean, Golden Glue played really well in the first game against Fabivin, and like you have to remember how bad their start was. Both their bot line died level 1, blew all their summoners, and then Svenskeren died topside before 2.5 minutes at level 2. And they still almost won that game, right?
Yeah.
So like without, like that was a horrible start. They even like died so late bot lane that they missed multiple waves.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't have that start, maybe they have a 2-0 weekend and you know, it's hard to say, but like it's pretty decent performance.
I would assume that because like he was like really good at Zoe too. Like he was like have really, you know, priority mid like for whole time, and then like Zoe also is like really good champion for like 1v9 too.
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
So definitely, why not?
Yeah, I gotta say personally, I am very pleasantly surprised by Golden Glue. I think like this is a player that I've wanted to see do well for a while, and it's always been very, very sketchy on stage. And like yeah, the solo kill at like level 5 or whatever in that first game, like he's been pretty solid. So that's been cool to see.
I guess the last question I would have for both you guys then would be, do you actually think they'll keep this roster, or will the other guys come back? Because I still assume that like, you know, Smoothie, Jensen, and Sneaky are the stars of the team, have been on the team forever, have been to Worlds and, you know, made it to quarterfinals a bunch of times, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I don't see them sticking with this roster unless they played, like, incredibly well, just because the other roster is so tried and true.
I mean, I feel like if they play keep right now, I feel like they could be the like pretty top team. That's what I feel. And like obviously they're gonna like decide to which is like Jensen and Sneaky and between like Golden Glue and like Keith, right? And I feel like for sure they can play better at like kind of which is like meta right now is like really, you know, there's a lot of new stuff and like not standard kind of. So I feel like if it's like standard, I feel like there could be chance that come back in too.
Okay, I want to press you on a very specific question. Let's say tomorrow is NALCS Finals, Echo Fox versus Cloud9. Which roster would you rather face to have a better chance of winning? The old one or the one that played today?
Today. Because we're just too good at this meta too.
Okay, doesn't even matter. You're going to play these guys anyway. Thank you very
gonna
much.
win regardless.
I mean, that's true, obviously. 3-0 in the third place match, of course. So NALCS tonight is all about you all watching at home. We want to review some of the moments from this weekend that you called out using hashtag LCS Big Plays, brought to you by Acer Predator. First up, Glenn Reich praises the return of NA's own Vault Boy and his solo queue against Epivin's Lulu.
By no means is this goal lead, you know, unwinnable, right? They are not even 2,000 goal behind, but they need to stabilize.
Oh, he might just be dead! Into the mid lane, Golden Glue answers back!
Seeing a solo kill on your opponent's star player is going to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, courtesy of your own star player, Golden Glue.
I mean, he was really sick. He almost also got a second solo kill. I remember like with Fevin roaming down a bot, he was super close to killing him. So really good performance, honestly, from Golden Glue. I think it's some of the best play we've seen him have on the LCS stage.
Yeah, I was watching it also. He kind of misplayed for what you mentioned about the second solo kill. I think he could have solo kill kind of, but pretty sure from there like you can tell maybe this guy is not as like experienced as much as like Jensen. Probably like if you play like kind of like best or optimized, you could have just like solo kill too. But that's why I gotta say kind of weakness. But still like he played like super well. Like that game should have been like over like 20 minutes earlier, like for sure if there was no Zoe pressure mid.
Yeah, so that's by him, but of course they did lose that game. Now next up, TSM put a capper on their 2-0 weekend with a quadra kill picked up by Hanser.
Turtle over the wall, flawless duet, locks them in place, and there's the ultimate coming from Bjergsen. He might have bit off more than he can chew, but the team is behind him, and now they're onto Flame. Sven still drilling the arrows into Flame, and now they're onto Keen. This is gonna be all she wrote, and they knock him down under his own turret. Quadra kill for Hanser.
Yes, good.
Wait. Stairs.
Good job, guys.
Kill GP.
Don't know, he has stopwatch, but don't know about flash. Probably has.
I think
you get him.
We can.
Think about stopwatch.
Nice.
Oh,
4 kills going over to the top laner at TSM. They run over that fight, and that was one that looked like it was going to go FlyQuest's way at the start.
All right, whose Mundo is better, yours, Altex, or Hans's right there?
I'll take his best Mundo ever I've seen.
Absolutely agree. Just want to get that. Just want to make sure that you were also
didn't
backing that
appreciate
one
the
up.
pure mechanical skill there.
You walked out of
and
and
that
pressed
quadra
Q.
kill?
Ooh.
I can't play Mundo. He's too hard champion for me.
I believe that, but Scion on point, of course. So finally, Wonder from G2 asks why Yankos can't play Rengar like Dardoch can.
Phoenix is ripping through the team. Damage still there. It's a mess. And that's a double in for Solo. He's alive for long enough to try and get the rest of them as Dardoch has got no sums left. CG 3 up, still looking to try and complete the ace, and Dardoch will get flinged back. Solo got his teammate killed.
I can catch. Just catch. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Yeah, okay. You guys go. 3 seconds. Watch, he's gonna jump. He's gonna jump. Let me get him. Let me get him. Just do some damage to him. Nice. Get out of there, boy. Holy you got it.
I like that he got to play Rengar top, by the way. I was so excited when I saw that come in. I was like, wait a second, he's got teleport. It's Rengar top. I got all excited. Do you blame Solo or Lyra for that Graves kill, though? Because he flung him into the brush, but Lyra, like, cheated up.
I'll flame, be honest, Solo. Like, you don't need to flip over there, right?
Okay.
So, he, like, since could have nearly solo kill Rengar over there. So, like, you know, why not? I'll say, like, you didn't need to really, like, flip press E and make sure you're not landing at the like brush, so he can't jump it.
So you have to give Dardoch a rating. What do you give him out of 10 on his top lane performance?
He actually solo carried this game too.
So what is it? Is he a perfect 10?
Like 9.5.
9.5. 9.5. That's pretty good.
He does jungle difference. Be honest. He got
It was very much
like
jungle
2 times in a row.
Top is jungle difference.
Yeah, top is jungle difference, but
you were the jungler, so why weren't you up there? You're trolling.
No, top is that role right now. Like
that's why. But not in this game, not for you.
Top just gain like I don't care if even top Zai. It's just like go for bot and then take the ocean track for team. Why not? That was my job. My top lane. Yeah.
Dardoch, this is why I don't gank your lane. I ignore you. Look what we got. Next time around, you know why. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, we kind of didn't like even communicate that well because I could have said like there could be Graves going there, but like. I kind of didn't say it because like I was not like used to, and I was like kind of nervous that playing first time at the tournament.
Sure.
Playing jungle, so like it was my bad.
So he's 9.5. What are you out of 10 for your jungle?
I mean, I'm 10.
You're 10. You're still a 10. But you just said you made mistakes.
He's like, I made all these mistakes. Still 10.
It was all planned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Normally it would be like 11 or a 12, but today was a 10.
All planned.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So early in the day, we asked you at home to submit questions for myself, Azael, and Hooney to answer. So now is that opportunity. Up first from Rael's Army. Once Banner of Command, do you expect the marksman meta to return as comps lose safe siege? My first answer is I think that will happen a little bit. I think that is sort of part of the puzzle, but not the entire part of the puzzle. That I think we still see, fighters and mages and whatnot down there. How about you? What do you think with Banner gone?
I mean, without Banner gone, probably like I'm pretty sure you can't kind of like take turret with like all melee, obviously.
Sure,
but,
not all melee.
Like it's gonna be like for sure hard to close the game like compared to when you actually have pure like marksman.
Okay.
So probably I think I would say it should be comeback. Like I mean I think we should try first and to see how it's going on, and we will see. But I would assume that if there's no like banner siege and who can like hit the turret kind of, it's gotta be like depends on like what they have. But pretty sure if you have no like range champion, I feel like you just can't close the game kind of.
Okay.
Like when they have like let's say Ziggs, what can you do?
What about Omwrecker? Do you remember that item exists?
Oh, he's still on it?
You turn off the turret for 5 seconds and power dive.
It's still on it?
Pretty sure it still exists.
It does still exist.
We gotta try.
All right,
it's
new
interesting
meta.
Because I think like mages still do a lot of damage to turrets, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you can't have 5 melee, but like you bring a Ziggs mid or whatever, and that's your siege, right? Like maybe you can do something like that.
Like auto W.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or you do 1-3-1 split push and stuff like that. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what teams come up with.
All right, well, next up is a tweet from Dennis Altina. With lots of players moving around the map, do you think we could see a future where players aren't scattered for their map position, but rather their champion style they specialize in?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like hard to say for now, right?
Sure.
And it's gonna be like 8.12, which is like we haven't played that. I can't say for the like future.
Sure.
I'm not the like who looking for a future looking for a future at the dream, So. I mean, let's see. Like, I prefer this meta, like for sure, because I can play like whatever I want to play.
Yeah, it's great.
But I didn't show like my best champion also. Like, it's gonna be more fun if it's like keep this meta too.
Yeah. I hope it stays. I personally do. I actually really like the difference in styles, the fact that we're seeing players move around the map and whatnot. I think it's really cool myself. But yeah, I guess we'll see what scouting looks like in the future. And finally, Jangu has one for Huni. How do you decide what you're playing?
I mean, I don't know. I used to play like Talia a lot, like at the top. You know, it's like we were like keep thinking about like, what if we go just rank like jungle and then playing Talia top? Like could work too, right? Like you guys can see like Talia's gonna beat Singed.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure. So like why not? And I was like thinking about like.
I thought you were gonna do Rise top. I thought you were gonna play Rise top in a Singed because that's pretty good too.
Yeah, but Phoenix Rise is like too clean. Like okay, I can't go there. Like that's not my level.
Out of 10, what's Phoenix's Rise?
11.5.
11.5.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's
yeah,
pretty
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right.
And like I was like 10, so.
Yeah, of course. It makes total sense. Of course. All right. So then thank you, of course, for that answer. Now, before we sign up for the weekend, let's take a look at next week's schedule brought to you by Jersey Mike's. We can see Saturday's games up right about now. And Echo Fox takes on OpTic Gaming in the middle of the day. That's going to be one to watch for. But Team Liquid continue their attempt at first place with facing a CLG who won today.
And a lot of people are going to be excited to see, is Cloud9 staying with this roster? Are they going to swap back? We knew they were doing this for the first week, but kind of remains to be seen.
I mean, I feel like C9s are gonna be like kind of stacked like with the current roster because like they performed too well. I feel like right for this week.
You think they keep them in?
Kind of.
Okay, fair enough. I want to bring up 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. I think both these teams are 0-2. Which one do you think comes up with this one?
But I feel like FlyQuest is still playing well with the week 1, but like they kind of get like I don't know. They kind of like mess up a lot at the like middle game when they have like lead for the like all the like game. I saw like they almost won even today, so I'm pretty sure they have a lot for the future than I'll say like than 100 Thieves.
Okay. And of course, if you are looking for a different perspective, Clutch Gaming's Apollo and Solo will be joining me on the NALCS Lounge for Game 4, which is 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. So stay tuned for that. I will hope to do a better job than Kobe did yesterday. But of course, it's a very high bar to reach. He had plenty of very good guests as well. Now that's going to be it for us here on NALCS Night. Thank you again to Huni for joining us. He is amazing and at least a 13 out of 10 as a guest. But now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for more NALCS. Yesterday, North America jumped into patch 8.11, and while we saw some of the picks rather teased in different regions, it just left us wanting more.
Sven still drilling the arrows into Flame, and now they're onto Keen. This is going to be all she wrote, and they knock him down under his own turret. Quadra kill for Hunter. Now they might lose Keen. What an ultimate for Bjergsen. Nobody can even get out. And now it's Flame falling. And the Nexus in the eyes of TSM, as well as a 2-0 start to the summer split. TSM take down FlyQuest.
If we play scared, we're going to lose. Let's just focus on playing our game, going for our plays, and we'll take it from there.
Level 1 kills coming up. There's one. Serve them up. 2.
Is anyone scared here?
Never scared. Spooked. Never scared.
Says we're letting it rip, boys. Golden Guardian goes dead, and he just absolutely deletes Team Liquid.
The TP with the ult from that shot. Gonna line them all up. He gets a 3-man knock up at CLG. Wipes that team fight.
Singe is dead. Kill him. I still kill. We got him. Nice.
Right now, I see Huni with Talia and a smite. So I'm getting some inklings.
Are you confident playing the jungle Talia?
Why not?
Oh my god, I'm gonna play top. I'm hella nervous, by the way.
CG, 3 up, still looking to try and complete the ace, and Dardock will get flinged back. Solo got his teammate killed! And now he's gonna pop the Zonda to Huni to take down Apollo and Echo Fox. They lose Phoenix, but they find so much more. They can take him out. It's a real good pick to get. He is going to be fit. Liquid wants the taunt. He will find it, and Zazel able to grab the shutdown.
Hit the Nexus, guys. Hit the Nexus.
Hit it. I can't. Please kill it.
He's like, yeah, we won.
I'm dead already, man.